So today we're going to be diving into easy care indoor plants. Maybe you're here because you're thinking about bringing some life into your home, but, you're not really a master gardener. Or maybe you're someone who travels a lot and you need a plant that can handle a little bit of forgetfulness when it comes to watering. Does that sound familiar? Well, good news. We've got 3 great sources lined up for you today. 2 articles and a YouTube video, all packed with ideas on the easiest indoor plants to keep happy and healthy. Now, one of the articles, 24 Best Indoor Plants for Low Maintenance, goes beyond just the aesthetics and talks about how houseplants can actually improve your health, clean the air, and even boost your mood. What do you think about that?
It's fascinating, isn't it? There's so much research now that shows just how beneficial plants can be for our well-being. And both of the articles we have here mention snake plants as being especially good at purifying the air.
Oh yeah, the snake plant. They're amazing. It's like you can completely forget to water them, and they just keep on thriving. The YouTube video even mentioned that they can get big enough to be used as room dividers. I never knew that.
That's right. They're really something else. If you're worried about air quality, especially in a bedroom, a snake plant could be a fantastic choice.
Now, the jade plant was another one that caught my eye in that 24 Best Indoor Plants article. I mean, they're adorable, right? With those cute little round leaves. Plus, they're supposed to symbolize luck and prosperity. Speaking of lucky plants, do you have a favorite?
Well, the money tree is always a popular one for attracting wealth and good fortune. I think it was in that same article, actually. And funnily enough, I actually received one as a gift a while back.
Oh, very nice. Maybe it's working its magic behind the scenes for you.
Right.
What about you, listener? Do you have any plant superstitions or traditions you follow? We'd love to hear about them. Now, that YouTube video, Easy Indoor Plants for Beginners, really focused on plants that are, easy for beginners. The host recommended pothos, which one of the articles nicknamed devil's ivy, and also spider plants as being both super low maintenance and fast growing. Have you had any experience with either of those?
Oh, absolutely. Pothos is wonderful because it can handle a wide range of light conditions. One of the articles even said it can survive in nude darkness, so it's perfect for those dimly lit corners that so many homes have.
And spider plants are famous for their little babies, right? Those offshoots that you can use to grow new plants. Have you ever tried propagating plants, listener? It's like plant magic.
It really is, and it's surprisingly easy. Basically, you're just taking a cutting from a mature plant and helping it develop roots, creating a whole new plant. There's tons of resources online if you're interested in giving it a try.
That's so cool. I love the idea of starting a whole plant family from one little cutting. Now, one of the articles mentioned the Christmas cactus and wintergreen berries as being fun options to bring a little bit of holiday cheer indoors. Those sound pretty festive.
They are, and they can be really nice to bring the feeling of the holidays inside, even when you're spending more time indoors.
Right.
And, speaking of plants that can handle a little less light, one of the articles mentioned the ZZ plant, which the YouTuber actually called the king of the indestructible plants.
Whoa. That's a pretty bold statement. What makes the ZZ plant so tough?
Well, it can handle low light, infrequent watering, even low humidity. It's a great option for people who maybe travel a lot or tend to forget about plant care.
It sounds like it would be perfect for me. So we've talked about plants that are good for air purification.
Yeah.
And plants that can survive a little bit of neglect. But what about plants that are just like drop-dead gorgeous?
Yeah.
Do our sources mention any real showstoppers?
Oh, absolutely. The fiddle leaf fig is super popular right now. It's known for those big dramatic leaves, and it can really make a statement in a room. Both articles actually mention this one.
Yeah, I've definitely seen those all over social media. They seem to be quite the trendsetters in the plant world. Would you say they're as easy to care for as some of the other ones we've talked about?
Well, they can be a little fussier when it comes to light and humidity. They prefer bright, indirect light, and they might need a little extra humidity, especially during the drier months. But if you give them a little extra attention, they can really thrive. And those leaves are just stunning.
So not all superheroes wear capes. Some have fabulous foliage. I like that. Now, what about something a little more delicate, maybe even a little quirky? Anything in our sources that kind of fits that description?
One of the articles mentioned the string of pearls plant, which is really unique and charming. It has these cascading strands of little pearl-like leaves. They're so whimsical.
Oh yeah, I've seen pictures of those. They're adorable. I bet they look amazing in a hanging planter. Speaking of unique looks, what about the parlor palm? Those always give me like a tropical vibe.
They do. Parlor palms are like a little vacation in a pot. They do prefer higher humidity, though, so you might need to mist them regularly. Or keep them in a more humid environment, like a bathroom.
Makes sense. Give them a little spa treatment. So we've covered a lot of ground here. Plants for air purification, low maintenance options, statement pieces, even some of the quirkier choices. What stands out to you, listeners? We're going through all these incredible options. Is there one that's calling your name? I know we've been focusing on the easy care aspect, but are there any plants that might need a little extra TLC that are still worth considering?
The peace lily is a classic for a reason. It has those elegant white flowers, and it's also known for its air purifying qualities.
Oh, those are beautiful. I've always loved peace lilies. They just seem so serene. What makes them a little more high maintenance?
They can be a little finicky when it comes to watering. They like to be kept moist, but not soggy, so it can be tricky to find that sweet spot. But if you can master their watering needs, they'll reward you with those gorgeous blooms.
That's a good point. I think even with these so-called easy care plants, there's still a certain amount of care and attention that they need. It's about finding that balance that works for you and your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about snake plants, jade plants, ZZ plants, fiddle leaf figs, string of pearls, parlor palms, and peace lilies. Wow, that's quite a lineup. Is there anything else from our sources that we haven't touched on yet?
Well, we've mentioned spider plants and pothos a few times, but I think it's worth emphasizing just how incredibly easy they are to take care of. Spider plants with their little babies are super fun to propagate, and pothos can basically handle any light conditions.
That's right. They're both great choices for beginners. Or really anyone who wants a plant that's almost guaranteed to thrive. I'm sensing a theme here. Low maintenance is a good thing, especially for those of us who, let's say, don't have the best track record with keeping plants alive.
Absolutely. You don't have to be an expert to enjoy the benefits of having plants in your home. That's what's so wonderful about so many of these options. They're forgiving, adaptable, and they can bring so much life and joy to your space.
I'm feeling a lot more confident about my plant parenting skills after all this.
That's wonderful to hear. And remember, you don't need a ton of space or even a lot of time to enjoy the benefits of having plants around. Even just one or two well-chosen plants can make a huge difference in your home and in your well-being.
For sure. It's funny how some of these plants actually thrive on a bit of neglect.
Yeah, it's true. Sometimes less is more. But even with the low-maintenance varieties, it's good to check in on them regularly and just make sure they're happy and healthy. Speaking of which, did you catch that tip in the YouTube video about checking for pests and diseases?
Oh yeah, that was a good one. The crazy plant guy really emphasized how important early detection is. He said it's so much easier to deal with a problem when it's small than waiting until it's, a full-blown infestation.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. Repotting, pruning, propagating. It's all part of the fun of being a plant parent.
It's a great way to connect with nature,
Uh-huh.
and nurture something beautiful. Speaking of nurturing, we haven't really talked about the emotional benefits of having plants around.
It's incredible how much joy and peace they can bring. There's studies that show that being around plants can reduce stress, boost creativity, and even improve concentration. It's like having a little piece of nature indoors, bringing all those positive vibes with it.
I love that. Like bringing the outdoors in, even if you live in a tiny apartment, it's a good reminder that we're all connected to the natural world, even when we're cooped up inside.
Exactly. And speaking of tiny apartments, there are so many great options for small spaces. Remember all those trailing plants we talked about? The pothos, the spider plants, the string of pearls. Perfect for hanging baskets or shelves.
Oh yeah, they can add a lot of visual interest without taking up a bunch of floor space. It's all about getting creative and finding what works for you.
For sure. And remember, there are no hard and fast rules when it comes to plants. Just have fun and enjoy the journey.
I think that's great advice. And, if you ever feel overwhelmed, just remember, plants are resilient. They've been around for millions of years. They know how to survive.
That's a great point. So listener, go forth and greenify your life. Find those plants that speak to you, give them a little love, and enjoy the many benefits they bring.
And hey, don't forget to share your plant journey with us. We'd love to hear about your green companions and any tips or tricks you've discovered along the way.
Happy growing, everyone.
Happy growing.